Welcome back to Yelling at Trees, where on occasion we have been known to wander off into the yard and find some poor tree and yell at it. Like this. Ah, what are you, an oak? Get off my lawn! But he doesn't. He stands his ground. He is deeply rooted in our yard.
He won't leave us alone.
He won't. He's like, come on, man. Come on, man. Come on. No.
Just looking in the window, and every time the wind blows, he's kind of reaching at me for a little bit.
Did you ever see the Poltergeist movie from the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I haven't.
There's a little blonde girl who's the main character, and her name is Carol Ann. Which seemed totally normal as a kid watching a movie. And as I've grown up, I've realized that is the most redneck name I've ever heard. Like Melissa Lynn.
It's Honey Boo Boo's sister.
Carol Ann.
Carol Ann.
but I mean, like, it's crazy. It's got this sweet little old midget lady who's like got a crazy accent.
She's a bit of a sidekick. Yes.
It's clear. You know, and you know,
that's pretty good.
The dad is the coach on the show Coach.
Oh no, it's
not. That's totally him.
It is.
It is. I can't remember the guy's name, but I remember. But that's who that is.
And another Poltergeist, I think it's Tom Skerritt, but that's right.
That's
from
the
Picket
third
Fences.
one, I think. Yeah,
Picket Fences. That's
so like what I didn't know as a kid watching these movies was that they are the cheapest friggin' movies you could ever make.
Mm-hmm.
They are crap movies, and they are entirely staffed by failed TV show stars. It's like reality TV if they were like writing horror films.
Mm.
I just had a really good idea for. Never mind. We'll talk about that later.
Write it down.
Yeah, I mean, you know. So maybe you didn't get that last rose. How would you like to be a witch?
Which witch would I have to be?
Or a werewolf, or a vampire,
or a vampire,
or a vampire
hunter,
or an umpire.
No, that's too scary.
I don't think they have one of those shows yet.
I can't call those kind of things.
There was an episode of Mad TV, which was like a knockoff of Saturday Night Live in the early 2000s.
So fun.
Where it was Buffy the Umpire Slayer. And like evil demonic umpires would jump out of nowhere and she would stab them with a baseball bat. So good. Yeah, so if you are too young to have remembered how crazy stuff was in the 90s, I feel sad for you because that was like formative stuff. Like, unlike young people who have to be entertained by phones all the time, I can literally just sit in a room by myself and laugh for hours just remembering the dumb things that I've seen.
And everybody remembers kind of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Most of us can actually quote the lyrics to the intro song.
Oh, yeah.
But the one that gets forgotten is Martin. I used to love that. And he used to have Shaniqua. Yeah. Shaniqua was a great character of his.
Oh, gosh.
And we just don't have shows like that anymore.
Nope.
You couldn't make that show today.
I mean, you could.
No, I'm just saying Martin Lawrence, he's cool and everything, but he got away with some stuff that you can't get away with anymore.
That's most of the 90s. Yeah, most of the 90s.
That's kind of what made the 90s great was what you could get by with. Mm-hmm. It was because, you know, the American culture had finally accepted black culture.
Right.
And then incorporated it into the world.
Right. And then somehow in the last 20 years, it completely reversed course. And like as a white person, it's hateful for you to enjoy black culture.
Right. It's cultural appropriation for us to actually...
Or Native American culture for that matter.
You know, everything up to that point was like, hey, we're a melting pot. All of our different cultures are coming together.
Right.
And that's okay.
Finally, after hundreds of years, our culture was finally coming together. And I don't know what changed. But suddenly it was like, no, you can't laugh at our joke. You can't use that word. It's ours. You can't be on this TV channel. Like whatever it was. It's like they stopped that group, whatever politicians or whatever was pushing for that group to be inclusive in American culture, suddenly decided, no, we need to celebrate this culture and exclude others.
Well, what it is you know, politicians trying to turn people against each other so they can break us all into voter blocks. So that they can say, I have this group and you have this group. Therefore, you know, I can try to build myself a platform out of just the race issues in America.
Right, but I don't think it's really working anymore. I don't think that.
It never was.
I feel like a lot of black people still choose to vote Democrat but I don't think that they trust Democratic politicians.
No.
Like I don't know. I don't understand the difference between those things.
They just really don't trust Republican politicians.
Right.
So, as much as they don't trust Democrats, they don't don't trust.
Yeah, you really can't trust anybody.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing that we have in common that we don't realize, and that's why we have all these divisions. Is like, first of all, we are all humans that often have crappy situations happen to us. We have that in common.
Yeah.
Whether it's being pulled over all the time, or being screwed by the IRS, or like losing your job, getting divorced, like having the sad luck of running into like horrible people that disappoint you over and over again, or being born into that situation.
Yep.
Like we've got all of that in common, and then at the same time, none of us should trust this government.
Well, in the government's whoever's in charge tends to pit one group against the other.
Right, because then you don't realize how bad they are.
Right. Well, that's exactly right. They don't realize the two groups are the people and the government.
Right.
And it's not the people versus the people; it's the government versus the people.
Right.
And and so they have to keep us fighting with each other to keep us from being united against them.
Right. And welfare is exactly how the Jewish people built the pyramids. Like the Egyptian government gave them just enough to not be frustrated all the time, and got them drunk every night. And so every night was a party for 3 or 4 hours, and then they would sleep, and then they would wake up and they'd build pyramids for 8 hours, and then they'd have beer again, which is basically liquid bread, which gives you as much nutrition as you need, and alcohol, which sedates you. So they would literally drink themselves unconscious every night, and then they'd wake up in the morning and they'd go back to work hauling rock.
Well, the problem is that the government is still trying to make the world in their image. They want everything to be the way they want it to be.
Yeah.
And they don't want to accept people. They don't want to accept the values of the people. The people have a certain set of values, and the government wants to. All they want is complete control. Yeah.
The thing the government wants least is for you to realize you're an individual and you're not like anyone else.
Yep.
Because like if that's the case, if every individual is completely unique, then that's actually something we have in common.
Well, that's also something they can't count on.
Right.
They need those voting blocks to know who's going to be elected next time.
No. You fit into this group. You should hang out with this group and vote with this group and not mingle with other groups.
Yeah.
We don't care what group you are. That's your group. Yeah. It's rough.
Well, with the Civil Rights Act in the 50s, 60s,
we're
60s,
going old school.
60s. So when they passed that, it was actually said, amongst Democrats that, hey, we'll have them voting Democrat for the next 5 or 6 generations, basically, just by passing that thing. Even though they didn't really care, even though they don't really care about anything that's in that Civil Rights Act.
Right.
They were the ones holding it up, actually, because the Republicans wanted it in already.
Yep.
But anyway, they thought that they would basically break it up and make it so that it looks like they're the good guys. And so they've convinced people that. And it's just kind of frustrating to me.
That's what you get.
Can't trust nobody.
When you think that the people that were against Abraham Lincoln were the ones that wanted to free the slaves. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. That's how they're teaching it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's, man.
I got a little
serious.
That
was a weird segue. We should never do that again. We talked about politics and races and... Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like I let someone down, and they're gonna write me a letter, and I'm gonna feel bad about it when I read it. And then I'm gonna print it out, and I'm gonna read it every day. I'm gonna give it to my kids someday, and say, "This is how we change the world." No, that's not true. No one's ever gonna hear this.
I wanted to say something earlier when we were talking about races, but just didn't talk. But I always liked the made-up Indian tribe that the Boy Scouts had. The Mickasay. Yeah.
There was actually more than one.
Really?
There was another one. I can't remember what it was. Like different camps. Mm-hmm. There was 2 of them, but I can't remember what the other one was.
The Mickasay was down here at Osceola.
Sounds like an Irish
the other
Indian
one was probably
group.
up at the other.
It was like the Order of the Arrow or something like that. Like they're 2 different things. I can't remember what the other one was. But I don't think that they were different. I think they just said they were different.
Yeah.
Like all people groups. Sorry.
I think we tried to get into the Order of the Arrow, but it was like, whatever.
The thing that really drives me crazy is that when people are celebrating their culture, they say they're celebrating their race because they don't know the difference.
Right.
That a race is a genetic lineage, but a culture is what people have in common.
Right.
Like you why would you celebrate we're all descendants of this particular great-great-great-great-great-grandfather? You don't. You celebrate that we all are Irish. We're all from the Irish island. We all have that in common. We have that cultural commonality where you say we're all French. We all speak the same language. We have the same history. Like, or we're Mexican or Hispanic, which is even a bigger category because that includes more than just Mexico.
Well, yeah, you're talking about two nationalities as opposed to just like where your family's what country your family happened to pass through on the way to getting to America.
Right, but it's so mixed up now in schools that they say black culture.
Right. No, I have
black culture is not the same. There are dozens of black cultures.
Yeah, I got in trouble a little bit with my with the kid that my wife watches because he says that he's brown, and I made a mistake of saying that Michael Jackson's song said it doesn't matter if we're black or white, and I didn't think anything of it, and he goes, oh no, you called me black, and I'm like, yeah, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being black. No, but I'm brown. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand that. That makes sense. And I don't know if that's something he was taught at home, but I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, and I'm not exactly white either. I'm like some pale. I'm definitely on the pale side, but I'm
something to be upset about.
Well, no, he's a little kid. He's only 3 or 4. He
right,
doesn't
but
know
he
the
didn't.
difference,
He didn't hear that from somebody that doesn't know the difference. He heard that from somebody who's intentionally making a difference.
Right. Well, I think what made me sad, what hurt me inside, was that he kind of pouted and looked a little sad that I said he was black, and I'm like, going, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean. If it's like if I was black, honestly, the next time I see him, I'll just tell him, hey, man, I wish I was black. I'd be so much cooler if I was black. No, I wouldn't.
And then he'd go, I wish I was black, too.
I would still be a
nerd.
I mean, that being said.
Yelling at trees and random stuff.
That being said, I know 2 or 3 black guys.
Yeah. You know 2 or 3 black guys?
Yeah. Like,
man, I think I know more than that.
Yeah, no, there was a guy I went to Park University with that was from Sudan, and he is black.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there is no brown. He is black. And one of the coolest guys I ever met, too, his name's Corey.
Yeah. Nice.
He played basketball.
Wait a minute. That's not you, Corey. Another cool Corey.
Which, now that I think about it, I wonder if his name was actually Corey or if that's the name he uses in America because he was an exchange student. I don't know.
Spelled it with a K, didn't he?
Probably. And it had like a T and an F in it or something. I am Corey. Yeah, no. I've heard like the stereotype of the click language my entire life. I've never heard a language that had the click in it.
Yeah,
I've heard people from a lot of countries.
I couldn't reproduce it to save my life because it's not like one click. It's like they have several different click sounds.
Right. Well, I mean, I had a guy from Ethiopia talk to me in Ethiopian, and there was no clicks.
No.
I thought that was the language that it came from, and I was
and they
finally,
they speak different languages in Ethiopia too.
Yeah, in a lot of countries, actually, a lot of African countries, they speak French for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I have no idea why.
And Farsi is very important.
The French probably had trade with them and built some cities.
Well, they actually colonized them at one point.
Yeah, like Morocco was a French territory at some point, because it was called French Morocco. And there's also I think there's a French Guiana.
Geopolitics.
Yeah, science. Oh, I forgot. We got to take a deep breath. By the way, if you are listening to this podcast, it is because of Anchor.fm. Anchor is a free app in the App Store for any mobile device. There's also an app on the computer and a web interface, and it lets you record your podcast right there on that device. You don't have to use sophisticated Pro Tools or Logic or a mixer board or any of that fun stuff. You just hit a button and you talk about what you want to talk about.
I like it.
I like it too. It's really exciting because you can make a podcast and it distributes it to 12 or 15 different podcast services all at once, on their end, you don't actually have to like go submit it to iTunes or something like that.
That is super convenient.
It is super convenient. It's great. And you can do sponsorships, so you can do like little promotional commercial type stuff, and then they give you some money.
Yeah.
Which money is nice. It gets things and stuff.
Correct.
Yeah. Highlights. Free app. Easy distribution. Instantly record.
Done.
Yeah. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. That was shockingly deep water. And it's cold. It's so cold out.
Oh my gosh.
We live in the Midwest, and it's early mid-February.
Yeah.
And it is super, super cold out. Like, there's like inches of ice in the driveway of our apartment complex, but I think that's because a pipe broke.
Yeah, that's probably what that was from.
Yeah. And Texas is like without power, and like pipes are bursting everywhere because they don't actually bury their pipes sometimes, and sometimes they're made out of like plastic.
Yeah.
Instead of
PVC
like
and stuff.
steadier stuff like copper, like most of the lines here. But yeah, it's been in the news that the wind turbines in Texas all stopped because they froze.
Yeah.
They have those in the Arctic. And
That's
they work
crazy.
in the Arctic. Why are they freezing in Texas?
Well, might be more than one type of wind turbine is my guess.
I would
They didn't
assume
winterize them.
that that they skimped
Always
out and
winterize
didn't
your
actually
pipes.
insulate the parts that needed to
Right,
be insulated
exactly.
because it's Texas. It only gets cold for like an hour and a half
You're
every night.
more likely to have to worry about sand and storms.
Yeah, but you would
Texas.
think that the like sandproofing would be very similar to like watertighting. Sand is not quite as small as water.
Never.
Maybe.
Ooh, well,
Anyway.
I did live in Texas for a minute, but not for that kind of stuff.
So it's the time that we come to on Yelling at Trees where Corey tells us about one of his crazy dreams.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got one prepared.
Yay.
He's going to read it from his cell phone because that's where he types it all down.
Do you still have the intro?
I have no idea what the buttons do. We'll just pick one
Pick
at
one.
random. Oh, it's not on. I like it.
Okay. Try it again.
Maybe this one.
Nope, try
that's
again.
not a keeper.
Try again.
Where are these buttons? There we go. All right, Corey, tell us your dream.
So I called this one Bad Decisions. So I was with my friend, who is a younger black man. Hey, we were just talking about
A
this.
young Martin.
At this small hotel or motel or whatever. It's probably a motel. In a small town in the winter. Gosh, this is really... We are in the winter now. Yeah. What do you call that?
It's like
Relevant.
I hacked into his phone and read his story before we started.
So,
which I didn't do.
Before this part, somehow I knew that we had gotten mixed up with a bad group of people who were all about, like, robbing and killing.
Aw.
Yeah.
So we were going to leave and never come back.
Bunch of shady white folk.
Yeah. So we were checked into this hotel.
Can't trust those white people.
Kill Whitey.
What? don't kill Whitey.
So we were all checked in and ready to turn in for the night, and we decided that we were hungry. So just outside there was this open patio thing where they serve meals as part of the stay at the hotel.
I believe it's
motel
pronounced
or whatever.
patio.
I was a bit excited for the menu because it was a bit fancier than I expected it to be.
Ice
Fancy
cream.
patio.
Yeah,
Wait, the patio or the meal?
the meal.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was looking
Like,
at the menu.
look at
and I was
this
getting excited.
woodwork.
They got hammocks in here and everything.
It was getting dark, so there were like torches for lighting and the outdoor heaters from like a fancy restaurant, keeping the outside nice and toasty.
Of course.
It was really nice, is what I put. There were 2 rows of round tables on either side of a middle aisle, about 10 tables in total. The tables were packed with people. The waiter came to our table.
You may have been at a wedding reception.
Maybe.
He's a wedding crasher.
I wouldn't doubt it.
So there it was, me and Owen Wilson.
Continue.
Good.
So the waiter comes over to our table, and then suddenly a table at the front and gets flipped over and dishes crash and whatever ambient music stops and a couple people scream.
Ah!
I like the sound effects going with my dream. That's good. So, a guy with 2 guns and a hoodie and a mask is standing at the front and is yelling for everyone to put their cash phones, jewelries, and everything else
Give me your cash phones
on the tables. He wants us to put it on the table. We recognize this guy.
I do have Apple Pay.
Me and my friend.
I got a Cash App on my phone.
Me and my friend recognized the guy as the leader of the group that we were running from.
You better recognize.
So the waiter's the only one still standing, kind of frozen in fear. The robber's moving down the middle of the row straight towards us. He looks at the waiter who's trembling and just shoots him right in the chest.
Ho!
The crowd
That's what you
screams
get for trembling.
as the gunshot rings out and people are emptying purses and wallets and everything onto their tables.
It's more of a ricochet. Blam! There you go.
Yeah, something big like that. So the guy recognizes us and tells us to gather up all the stuff
Redneck and eyes.
and tosses somebody's stack of $100 bills in their cell phone.
$100 bills, y'all.
Yeah, just one of those
Who is that?
stacks.
That's the guy we need to be friends with. He's got a stack of $100 bills on him.
So he tosses those and one of his guns onto the table we're at. My friend just jumped right on board with robbing the place and picked up all kinds of stuff and loading his hoodie with it.
You gotta hang out with a better crowd of people. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There I was, robbing this
Restaurant
or whatever. Why not?
Yeah. So I pick up the gun and a phone and some of the cash and put them in my back pockets. And we're starting to, I say retreat, but I guess we're making our getaway. Yep. It's a robbery.
Oh my gosh.
Retreat.
My friend runs out towards the street, but I run back into the hotel towards the front desk.
Checking in?
Kind of. I'm a bit freaking out right now, so I crouch behind the front desk and I pull out my own cell phone and call 911.
That you pulled out your own self.
Wait, that was an option the whole time, and you just now do it?
Well, yeah, we're trying to get away from this.
He's trying not to get shot.
Yeah. You picked up a gun. You're not really blending in.
Help, police. I've got a gun, and this
All
guy...
right, go ahead, continue.
No, right, go ahead.
Thinking quickly, I took several quick breaths and worked myself up into sounding panicked.
I am panicked.
I told him that there was a shooting at the hotel.
What do I do?
They stole a bunch of stuff and shot a member of the staff. I didn't give any actual details, but hopefully that will get the police out here to do their thing.
Are your fingerprints now on the gun that shot the bystander?
Yeah. That is a good question.
Oh, gosh. Corey's going to prison.
So after I made the call, I got out to the street, and my friend and the bad guy were gone. I find a bicycle on the ground, and I jumped on it and took off. Uphill and icy roads made it a struggle.
He's bicycling on ice now.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So
wasn't this party on a gazebo in the snow?
Your gazebo.
Gazebo in the snow.
So yeah, it was up a really steep hill, and then there was like the neighborhood after that.
The hood.
And I rode all the way to the house where the bad people were staying at.
Because that's where you go.
Yeah, because we were running from them.
You could have told the police where they lived,
or whatever. We were trying to get out. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So we know where they were at. So about 8 people were all inside and hanging out with like bad music and drinking and whatnot.
Bad music. Yo, that music is bad.
You mean like Adam Sandler talk rap
it's
music is bad music?
It is super bad.
It was more like
or like gangster rap.
Yeah, some sort of weird.
Or like a polka.
Polka.
Oh, this music's
whatever
terrible.
You would expect from a
such bad music.
Gang of killers and thieves that like to hang out and listen to music.
I got it.
Eminem.
I got it. Insane.
So like
insane
clown posse. Yeah, that's the one.
Metal and rap. Yeah, sure. That sounds about right.
Sorry, go ahead.
So
they're coming to take me away.
When I opened the door, my friend came up and gave me a big hug. He said he was happy I made it.
Welcome back to the gang.
The leader who did the robbing and shooting was at the end of a long wooden table with all the loot on it.
Loot.
He stood up all slow and intimidating like.
Except for all of the money that you had in your pocket.
True.
He didn't know about that.
He was a skinny, bald white dude with tattoos and whatnot. He started walking towards me.
That's my cousin Tyler.
He's Slim
Sorry,
He's in it in a minute.
Oh, God.
You'll see.
I knew it.
So he started walking towards me, and the rest of the group was silent, like waiting for his judgment or whatever on us.
When did this dream happen? Is this a recent dream?
Yeah. It was probably last month, maybe.
Okay. So, ironically, before all of the freezing weather.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Weird. All right, continue. I'm loving the story. Wait, we need some more sound effects.
We're in the jungle now. So, he was coming towards me. Everyone got quiet, and
jungle sound,
I took the stack of money, the stolen phone, and the gun out of my back pockets, and then put them on the table.
Junk.
He got real close, like face to face, and said very dramatically, "Okay, you're cool."
Boy, was here.
Like,
I mean,
okay.
Nerd.
And then the party or whatever started back up. So he went back to his table, and I took my friend to the side, and I was like, "What are you doing? We're trying to leave this stuff."
That's
and
right.
He said,
"He's trying to get out of the life."
He said, "We kind of didn't
in it for
have
one
much
dream.
of a
It's too many times."
I mean, continue.
This has been
Flatline,
test
yeah,
of the emergency broadcast system.
So he said we didn't have much of a choice, and I was like, "Yeah, I guess you're right, but we still need to get out of here." So I snuck back out, and
if we don't leave quick, they're going to make us pay for these drinks. What?
Well, they didn't even tip the waiter. Oh, but they did.
Pow! Tipped. Sorry, continue.
It's not the way to do it, but yeah. So I snuck out the back and around the side of the house, and the neighbor had his porch lights on and his front door open.
We'll leave the light on for you.
I had left my coat at the hotel restaurant on the back of the chair, so I was
members
really
that live
cold.
next door, and he just leaves his door open in the middle of the night.
I guess.
Well,
Hey,
all right.
go ahead, break in. I dare you.
So I was really cold and looking kind of in his door for a coat I could borrow. Yeah, there's a nice older man in there. He saw me and came to the door, and he asked me what I was looking at. Told him, "I'm just really cold. Do you have an extra coat I could use?" He looked at me kind of disgusted-like and reached in his closet.
Coat eaters.
He opened the screen door and tossed me a full-body Carhartts.
No, we don't have any bear claws.
Like one of those full...
Like a construction jumpsuit?
Yeah.
Weird.
But they're like super warm, and they got that Carhartt exterior
Do
stuff.
they have the flap on the back so that you can poop without taking your pants off?
No.
Because those are stinking awesome. Sorry, continue.
Those are like pajamas or something.
Those are long johns.
Okay,
Long johns, yeah. No, this was like the stuff for
they
being
don't
out
have
in
that
the cold.
technology and work boots. Well, I don't know. Go
But
ahead.
that was like a really... Those are like really expensive, and they're really nice and really warm. So anyway.
Listen, I need to hear more. Come on.
So I thanked them as I put them on, and they were a little tight, but they were very warm. I started walking away and down the street. It was dark and late, so only a couple streetlights on the corner of the intersections were on. I was walking across yards and driveways, and I noticed a person covered in shadow walking towards me.
Hey, you! Take those shadows off!
I was so tired and thinking about the night, like, did anybody else see our faces, and how can we get out of this, and, pondering how to move on with my life or whatever. So the shadowy man walked straight towards me, and as he got to me...
The shadowy man.
I know
he was actually Tyler. I don't write that down, but it was Tyler.
It's like, hey, cuz, what's up?
That's what I would expect to hear. But, so anyway, as he got...
Instead, he says...
He basically walked straight towards me, and as he got to me, he slammed his shoulder into me and knocked me down. And at this point, I was just so tired that I just laid there for a while in the snow and cold, staring up at the dark sky, and there was a tree in the yard. So the sun was starting to come up, so it was barely getting a little brighter out. And after a bit of laying there, my friend came up and helped me up. He said, I hoped you weren't dead. I said, I just hope I wasn't laying in dog poop.
Nice.
Nice.
Is that the end?
No, it still goes.
Okay, that's the best ending ever. No, he's gonna say
that
more.
That would be good though. So that lightened things up a bit. As we're laughing at it. Yeah. The stupid leader was right behind him though, and he said, "You weren't running off, were you?" I had been thinking about it, and I told him that we needed to come up with an alibi for being at the hotel.
He's reading this if you didn't know that. That's why he was questioning his own thoughts there for a second.
Yeah. Sometimes I got to read ahead a little bit just to know where I'm going with this.
Me too.
So I asked my friend if he still had his room key. He said yes and handed it to me. And I said, I'll go back and tell them or the police that we were just going to dinner when we heard the gunshot and ran. The bad guy seemed to be okay with this plan and warned us about leaving the gang. So I started walking back towards the hotel.
Blood in, blood out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was at the top of the hill, and the road was icy. So I decided to slide down on it, on my back, in my Carhartts.
Dog poop.
Yeah. Yeah, so I basically just sat down and just started sliding down this really icy hill.
Tobogganing.
It got faster and faster, kind of like a bobsled or something.
Like a toboggan.
Like a toboggan blade.
The wind was so cold it was making my eyes water up. I was looking for the hotel.
That's the reason your eyes water.
But it was gone. I thought I might have passed it because I was going so fast. But it just wasn't there. So I slid down and around a corner into a store on the town square.
You leaned on the left cheek to turn the corner.
So yeah, I kept sliding and I crashed into a store.
Mm-hmm.
Did
you leave skid marks on the ground? I'm just wanting to know.
No, it was all ice, so I just kept sliding.
Yep. Now it has racing stripes.
So the store was a man I knew, and he was very nice. Oh, it was the store of a man I knew, and he was very nice. When I stopped sliding, he helped me up and asked what I was doing out so early. I told him about me and my friend were trying to get out of this gang and asked if he had any advice or if he could help in any way.
Right.
He started to close the store back up that he had just opened. He turned the lights off and we started walking towards the back room he had. Inside the room were machines and a desk, a whole setup that appeared to be for making fake IDs and passports and stuff. And he said...
He had a passports machine.
And he said, we can get you out of here. And then I woke up.
Nice.
That was a super
That was
exciting
actually
ending.
how he got him out of there. He woke him up.
Yeah.
We should do when he does these stories, we should definitely do a how it should have ended.
Yeah. And
like, for instance, when he was walking, just, random moment, all this dangerous stuff is happening. But then when he's walking across someone's lawn, like two rich people get out of their house with guns and shoot him. That'd be the way he dies.
That would have been the way I would have ended that story. Yeah. With rich people shooting you for being on their property.
What are you doing?
Living next to a gang.
Yeah, the gang had nothing to do with it. The former shooting had nothing to do with it, but he dies of some random thing.
It's true. All of it.
They're all pretty nice houses, too. Except for the one the gang was in. It was just a rundown, trashy place,
Yeah, it was...
the rent was a little lower, so they could afford it.
It was a dilapidated mansion. Yeah. Anyway,
it only had 4 bathrooms.
That's all the time we got for this particular episode of Yelling at Trees, where oftentimes we yell at trees, like so. Hey! Stop it!